He came home early at 3 a.m. And what he saw will haunt you forever. The clock struck 3, casting a hollow echo through the darkened streets. Tom had never seen the world so empty, as if the moon had swallowed the last of the city's life. Shadows flickered underneath the street lamps like whispers of secrets just out of reach. As he approached his apartment, a chill crawled up his spine. Something felt off. The door creaked open, a sound too loud in the stillness. He hesitated, heartbeat drumming in his ears. His breath hitched when the smell hit him, burnt metal mixed with something sweet. The lights were out, the dim glow from the street barely illuminating the hallway, stretching like a thin veil over the unknown. Each step felt heavier than the last, each inch closer dragging him deeper into dread. Suddenly, a soft thump echoed from the living room. Tom froze, a lump forming in his throat. His heart raced as he slowly moved toward the sound, pulse pounding like a distant war drum. The faint rustle of something shifting beyond his line of sight sent a jolt through him, and he pressed forward, desperate to unveil the shadow lurking just ahead. He found the living room's door ajar, revealing only darkness beyond. Then, a figure darted past, too quick to register a flash of color, a scream cut short. Fear wrapped around his chest like a vice, squeezing the air from his lungs. Had someone broken in? Or was something inside waiting just for him? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Tom's hands trembled as he pushed the door open. The sight that met his eyes was like a punch to the gut, a jumbled mess of overturned furniture and his beloved guitar shattered on the floor. The window was wide open, curtains billowing like ghosts in the night. But there, somewhere in the mess, was a dark smear on the carpet, bright against the beige. Blood? No, it couldn't be. His heart sank as he bent to examine it closer, pounding in his chest like a wild animal. What had happened here? And just then, the unmistakable sound of laughter, cold, echoing, rang out from the bathroom. It twisted his gut into knots. Who was there? Desperation flooded his veins as he forgot fear and rushed toward the sound, each step a leap into utter madness. And that's when he thought he saw something move again, just out of the corner of his eye, glinting red like a warning. Was he alone? Or had he brought something back with him from the shadows? Tom's hand gripped the doorknob, its cold surface grounding him for a split second as he hovered on the threshold. Every instinct screamed at him to run, yet an unseen force dragged him into the oppressive gloom of the bathroom. The laughter crescendoed, each peal shattering the silence, a mocking tune that reeked of chaos and fear. He stepped inside, heart hammering against his ribs, the darkness suffocating. The light switch clicked, but nothing happened. His fingers fumbled along the wall, desperate for something solid, for any hint of safety. The laughter continued, now laced with a strange melody, one that sounded achingly familiar yet distorted, like a child's song twisted into a nightmare. He pointed his phone's flashlight into the abyss, revealing cracked tiles and a cracked mirror, reflecting his pallid face back at him, a ghost staring with wide, searching eyes. Was that blood on the tiles? He blinked, squinting at the crimson stains, frantic now as he scanned the room for the source. Suddenly, silence crashed down. The laughter stopped abruptly, leaving an eerie void filled only with Tom's ragged breaths. He took a step back, bumping against the tub, his focus the only thing anchoring him in this storm of confusion. Then, a soft tapping began, slow, deliberate, from behind the shower curtain. A shiver raced up his spine, a sensation sharper than the cold chill in the air. He swallowed hard, adrenaline coursing through him. With a shaky hand, he pulled the curtain back. Nothing. Just the empty tub, alone and still, but the air felt electric, charged with anticipation. His breathing was loud, echoing in the confined space. He glanced down, heart dropping as he noticed a red smudge on the faucet. His pulse quickened, it looked just like the stain on the carpet. "Who's there?" he called out, voice wavering, urgency clawing at him. The silence answered, thick and overwhelming, as if the whole world paused just for him. Then from the corner of his eye, movement flickered. He whirled around, flashlight beam cutting through the dark. It caught a fleeting glimpse of the figure darting away, a flash of movement so quick it barely registered, but he had seen it. A shape. Swift. Fremd. He was not alone, instinct forced him into the hallway, desperation fueling his flight as he lunged past the living room. His heart thudded painfully, a cacophony in his ears, drowning out reason. He exploded through the apartment door and into the stairwell, pounding down the stairs 2 at a time. Each step echoed louder than the one before, but there was no comfort outside. The persistent feeling of being hunted hung in the air, the shadows creeping in on him like they were alive, watching his every move. Halfway down, he stumbled, nearly losing his balance. Hands grasped the railing, but he didn't dare look back. Could it be following him? The night was too quiet, too still. Was it waiting? As he hit the front door, he burst into the cool night air, gasping at the sudden rush of freedom. But even outside, a primal unease crawled beneath his skin. He turned back toward the building, desperately scanning the windows. Somewhere, there lay a sinister presence, lurking in the darkness he had fled. Tom backed away, every instinct screaming to get as far as possible. But deep inside, a haunting question lingered: whatever was inside his apartment wasn't finished with him yet. Was he brave enough to confront it? Before he could answer, a figure emerged from the shadows behind him, a silhouette that made his blood freeze. It was time to face the fear, but would he survive the encounter in the light of day? The figure stepped forward, its contours becoming clearer in the glow of the street lamp. Tom's heart raced as he tried to make sense of what he saw. It was a woman, disheveled and gaunt, with wild eyes glistening in the dark. A fleeting memory pierced through the panic: Jenna, his neighbor from 2 floors down, known for her erratic mood swings and whispered rumors of a troubled past. Tom. Her voice was strained, as if she had been holding her breath. "You need to leave. Now." A cold sweat broke out across his brow. Where had she come from? And why was she so frantic? "Jenna, what is going on? I just saw something. I need to know what is happening." She stepped closer, her breath visible in the frigid air. "It's not safe here. They're coming for you. It's been watching. It knows you." Tom felt his stomach drop. His mind raced, trying to connect the dots. Who was she talking about? It. There was an entity. He frowned, desperation clawing at him now. He was out in the open, yet somehow felt more cornered than before. Who is it? Who is watching? He managed to choke out. The shadows. They invade when you're vulnerable. You opened the door literally and figuratively. You let it in. Her trembling hands pointed toward the apartment building. You went in there. You felt it. Didn't you? Tom's memory tugged at him, a rush of disorienting laughter, the feeling of being watched. It all came flooding back. Get away from the building. She shouted, her voice razor sharp and cutting through the night. I can't protect you if you stay here. Something primal took control. He turned and ran, not knowing if he had the strength to trust her, but the urgency in her voice propelled him. He sprinted down the sidewalk, glancing over his shoulder, half expecting to see the shadow creeping after him. But there was nothing. The street was still, and yet the air felt thick with tension, clamoring to be released. Why me? He shouted into the darkness, hoping for an answer that would never come. He didn't understand how a simple night could unravel into this. Eventually, he found himself in front of a diner that had lost the light inside. It was a flickering neon oasis in the desert of his dread. Tom paused, chest heaving, the world narrowing to the sound of his own breaths. He swallowed hard, trying to drown out the memories of the bathroom, the laughter, the feeling of being hunted. Taking a deep breath, he entered the diner, the bell above the door jingling. A couple of tired patrons looked up, curiosity blending with sympathy. "Something wrong?" the waitress asked, concern glimmering in her eyes. Tom hesitated, the weight of the night pressing on him. "I don't know. I think I'm being followed." "Followed?" she echoed, voice barely above a whisper. His mind raced again, the events of the evening playing like a movie reel, snippets of fear, paranoia slicing through the remnants of his courage. He wasn't just facing a shadow, he was up against something far more insidious than he could comprehend. "Listen," she continued, leaning closer, "you're not the first to come in here with stories like that." Before he could ask what she meant, the bell jingled again, signaling another visitor. Tom's heart sank as the door swung open, and a cold gust rushed inside, carrying an ominous energy as if the darkness had found him once more. Would he find answers here, or more horrors? The door creaked as a tall man stepped inside, his silhouette cutting through the dim light like a knife. Tom's pulse quickened. There was something about him, something that screamed danger. The man's eyes swept the diner, landing on Tom, and an unsettling smile stretched across his face. "Look what we have here," he said, his voice smooth yet heavy with malice. "A little lost lamb, all alone." Tom's breath caught in his throat. The waitress's brow furrowed as she stepped between them, her stance defensive. "You need to leave," she said, her voice a low growl. "Oh, I think not," the man retorted, taking a step closer to Tom. "I think we're just getting started." The ambience shifted, the air thickened, charged with a suffocating dread. The other patrons instinctively shrank back, casting wary glances at the unfolding confrontation. Silence wrapped around them, amplifying the threat hanging in the air. "Who are you?" Tom croaked, trying to muster a courage that felt miles away. It was like staring into a dark abyss, and he could feel it staring back. "Just someone who knows what you've invited into your life," the man replied, a smirk dancing on his lips. "I was hoping to meet you, Tom." Shock coursed through him. "You know my name?" "Of course, I do." "It's not just any ordinary name," he said, his eyes glinting with something sinister. "You've made a decision, Tom. And it's time to weigh the consequences." Before Tom could respond, Jenna burst through the diner's door as if the shadows themselves were after her. Her eyes were wild, desperation painted across her face. "Tom. You need to get out. Now." The man's gaze flickered to Jenna, the smirk fading and hardening into a scowl. "How charming. The protector returns. Who are you?" Jenna spat, her voice trembling but fierce. "What do you want with him?" He chuckled softly, but the sound was laced with something dark. "What I want is irrelevant. What matters is the deal he made when he stepped into that cursed building." A shiver knifed through Tom. He hadn't made any deal, had he? Memories of laughter danced just beyond grasp, and confusion wrapped around him like a vice. "Get away from him," Jenna warned, stepping forward, a fierce light igniting in her eyes. "Whatever is happening, he doesn't deserve this." The man took a slow, deliberate step toward her, his smile back, yet colder. "What makes you think he can be saved? They are already in him." "Who's in me?" Tom shouted, his voice breaking, fear boiling in his chest. "The shadows. They whispered to you from the moment you opened the door, inviting them in." "Stop!" Jenna shouted, and Tom felt the tension hanging between them, as if the very air was waiting for a spark to ignite it. An idea clawed at the corners of Tom's mind. "What do I have to do?" he asked, looking at Jenna, hoping for guidance. "That's a good question," the man replied, his voice dripping with dark amusement. "Unfortunately, there's no easy path. But," he leaned in closer, "there is a way to rid yourself of them, at a price. What kind of price? Hot heart raced, each beat echoing in his ears like a drum. The man's eyes twinkled with a mischief that chilled Tom to the bone. A secret, your deepest regret. Share it with me, and the shadows will be banished. Silence enveloped the diner, heavy and suffocating. Tom's mind raced, grappling with the weight of such a confession. Before he could respond, the lights flickered ominously overhead, plunging the diner momentarily into darkness. What is happening? He gasped, stepping back, the shadows seeming to stretch around him, fingertips creeping up his spine. Choose wisely, Tom. The man rasped, his voice echoing as if it came from the depths of a well. Time is slipping away. The gleam of something dark flickered in the corner of Tom's eye, and a chilling realization dawned. Whatever he chose could change everything. But the choice wasn't just about him anymore. Jenna was standing there, and her fate was intertwined with his. Would he unveil his darkness to save them both, or would they be consumed by the very shadows he desperately tried to escape? The air crackled as the darkness folded back in, the lights flickering again. The tall man stood there like a looming specter, his gaze unyielding. Tom instinctively grasped at Jenna's arm, a spark of desperation ignited within him. The diner, filled with trembling breaths and anxious whispers, suddenly felt like a prison, closing in around them. What do you want? Jenna's voice was steady, but the underlying tremor betrayed her fear. The man smiled, his teeth gleaming with sharp menace. I want to help him, or watch him drown in his own darkness. The choice is his. The words twisted inside Tom's chest like a dagger. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Shadows flickered at the edges of his vision, and a distant echo of hushed giggles danced through his mind. They taunted him, beckoning him to remember something he couldn't quite grasp. Tom, Jenna urged, her voice slicing through the turmoil. You know there has to be another way. Another way? The man laughed, a chilling, guttural sound. The path is clear, sweetheart. Secrets are currency in this world. And Tom has a treasure chest full of them. Shut up. Tom shouted, feeling a surge of defiance. I won't give you anything. But it's not just a matter of choice anymore, is it? The man countered smoothly. Haven't you felt the whispers growing louder? The shadows wanting to reclaim what you promised them? A flash of memory hit Tom hard, a flash of joy, a laugh that once filled his heart, now drowned in regret. He couldn't form the words, not in front of Jenna. The weight of his secret hung heavily between them, a burden he could hardly carry alone. What if I don't have a secret? Tom said, forcing a laugh that sounded hollow. What if I'm just a regular guy? The silence that followed was heavier than the shadows themselves. The man's face twisted into a sinister grimace. Oh, Tom. Regular doesn't fit you. You've tasted the darkness, and it lingers like smoke in your lungs. What the hell do you know about me? Tom spat, his voice rising. I know you. The man shot back, eyes narrowing. And I know what you did to the girl. The girl who trusted you. The one you let down. Jason's breath hitched, memories swirling in a storm of guilt. Raw and sharp, they cut through him. He glanced at Jenna, who was watching him with bewildered eyes. She didn't know. He couldn't burden her with the truth, haunted by a past that felt too monstrous to unveil. Tom, please. Jenna stepped closer, her voice a whisper, urgent and imploring. You can't let him control you. It's not worth it. Worth it, the man chuckled darkly. That's so subjective. What do you value most? Your precious secrecy or your freedom? With that, the lights flickered again, plunging the diner into murky darkness, an all-encompassing shroud. In that moment, Tom was all too aware of the shadows closing in around him, the very essence of his fears cornering him. Tom! Jenna gasped, reaching for him, her hand finding his. You have to fight. Don't let him pull you in. He could feel the warmth of her hand, grounding him in a surge that clashed against the darkness whispering around him. Surrounded by a suffocating roar of echoes and shadows, he needed to break free. He needed to choose, but the weight of his regret, could he truly expose that part of himself? Would unveiling his deepest secret save him, or plunge him deeper into despair? Time's running out, Tom. The man's voice slithered through the air, dripping with anticipation. What's it going to be? He felt both Jenna and the shadows tugging at him, each side promising deliverance or destruction. In that agonizing heartbeat, everything hung in balance. Can you truly handle what you're about to unleash? The man taunted, smiling wider as the darkness seemed to pulse and breathe, a living entity eager to consume. The choice was his to make, but what lay on the other side of revelation? Tom. Jenna's voice shattered the silence, but before he could respond, a piercing scream sliced through the diner's stillness, tugging their attention away. What was that? Tom turned, heart racing, as the lights dimmed even further. A figure loomed in the shadows, moving closer. And as fear twisted in his gut, Tom could hardly breathe. What had he really invited in, and what would this new presence bring? Tom! Jenna's terrified shout echoed, but the darkness thickened, swallowing them both whole, leading them deeper into the unknown. The diner was plunged into a silence thick enough to suffocate, each of Tom's breaths echoing like a distant thunder. Shadows twisted and curled around the corners of the room, creeping closer, hungry. Jenna's grip tightened on his arm, her fear igniting his fight-or-flight instinct. Stay close. He urged, instinctively stepping in front of her, his heart pounding like the ticking clock on the far wall, a countdown to chaos. The figure advancing through the darkness was indistinct, a mere silhouette at first, but as it emerged, the air intensified with a sharp edge of dread. It was a woman, her face ghostly pale, eyes void of expression, yet swirling with a tempest of emotion. Tom's stomach dropped as he recognized her, someone from his past, someone he had long thought lost to the shadows of his memory. Sarah? He whispered, disbelief gripping his voice like a vice. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You remember me? The tall man stepped back, intrigued, the atmosphere shifting slightly with his amusement. Ah, now this is interesting. Torn between guilt and love, are we, Tom? Stop it. Jenna shouted, as if she could dismiss the man with mere words. She's not real. But Tom wasn't so sure. Memories flooded in, vivid and painful. The laughter they once shared, the promises made, the drowning guilt of broken trust now rose up like a specter. The woman took a step closer, her gaze piercing through him, igniting a volcanic rush of emotion. Tom, Sarah said, her voice barely a whisper, you thought you could just forget. You thought it would all go away. No. He faltered, the weight of his regret pressing down on him like a mountain. I thought I could leave it behind. She took another step forward, and suddenly, the hum of the diner returned like a swarm of angry bees. Fellow diners were frozen, horror-struck, eyes wide with shock. They bore witness to an unfolding drama that felt all too personal, a nightmare skimming too close to home. Don't listen to her. Jenna pleaded, her voice rising over the din. You can fight this, Tom. You don't need to let her back in. I can't. I think I owe her the truth. His voice trembled, grains of sand in an hourglass slipping away, reality pouring through his fingers. The man laughed, deeply satisfied. You see. The more you resist, the stronger the pull becomes. It's a game, and you, Tom, are losing horribly. And look at your loyal friend, desperately trying to hold on to a sinking ship. Shut up. Jenna screamed, fury igniting in her eyes. You don't get to decide what holds value here. But the man's expression was one of amused disdain, watching as Tom seemed to drift between two worlds, the painful past and a tumultuous future. Will you rescue yourself, or will you drown in your own making? His words were velvet draped over steel, leaving a bitter taste in the air. Tell me, Tom. What will you choose? The weight of the world rested on his shoulders, suffocating the small flicker of hope still clinging to life. Images of Sarah's downfall circulated, trapped in the machine of memory, her frightened eyes, her fading laugh haunting him mercilessly. Suddenly, a deafening crash erupted, the diner shaking violently as the walls warred against the darkness. Shadows writhed, and the apparition of Sarah wavered, revealing flickers of something darker beneath her visage, like a shroud of sorrow draped over a horrific reality. The diners screamed, panic spreading like wildfire through the tight space. "Tom!" Jenna shouted, anchoring him back to her. "You're not alone. Please." Before Tom could make any choice, flickers of crimson and gold burst through the chaos, momentarily illuminating the diner. There, amidst the overwhelming emotions, a looming question hung thick in the air. What if the darkness was already pulling him in? As the shadows closed in tighter, Tom had to decide quickly. Would he confront his haunting past, or sacrifice his only light for the comfort of secrets? A heartbeat passed, but the answer was lost among the chaos swirling around them, the diner becoming an arena of their very souls. Battling between the ties of love, loss, and the unending darkness that threatened to consume them all. What was it that he truly feared losing? With a sudden valoriism coursing through him, he stepped forward, but as he opened his mouth to speak, another voice rang out, cutting through the cacophony. "Tom! Look out!" The world spun as realization hit. The real danger was yet to come. What more lurked beyond the shadows, waiting to tear him apart? Tom's instincts kicked in. He spun around, adrenaline surging as he searched for the source of Jenna's warning. It was only then that he saw it, a dark shape rushing towards him from the back of the diner, a knife glinting menacingly in the soft emergency lights that flickered overhead. "Get down!" he shouted, shoving Jenna to the floor as he dodged to the side. The knife whistled past him, embedding into the wall with a sickening thud. Gasps erupted around them, and the once bustling diner now felt like a pit of chaos, diners scrambling, chairs clattering, and screams piercing the air. "Stay here!" he yelled to Jenna, eyeing the back exit. "I'll handle this." "No!" she screamed back, her voice laced with raw panic. "Tom, don't!" But he was already moving, weaving through a throng of terrified faces, adrenaline sharpening his focus. The tall man still stood, face a mask of enjoyment, observing as if this were a grand performance. The sight ignited something deep within Tom, a primal fury. Who was this man, and what did he want? "Run, everyone!" he shouted, willing the patrons to flee the diner. Another knife flew past him, this one aimed specifically at Jenna, but Tom's desperation kicked his reflexes into overdrive. He lunged forward, grabbing her just in time as the blade struck the floor, missing her by mere inches. She trembled in his grip, fear radiating like an electric current. They pressed against the wall, hearts racing, bodies entwined in the din of chaos. "Tom!" Jenna gasped, her breath warm against his cheek. "We can't stay here. We have to get out." But he couldn't leave her, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was meant to confront whatever nightmare was unfolding around them. "Why are you doing this?" he shouted at the tall man, his voice a blend of confusion and anger. "What do you want?" The man tilted his head slightly, a grin spreading across his face, his eyes glinting with a twisted delight. "I'm just here to help you remember, Tom. To help you face what you've buried deep. Isn't that what you desired all along?" Tom felt his heart race, pounding against his ribs like a caged animal. This man, this villain, held the answer to the torment shackling him, a key to a past he'd tried to forget. Yet, the physical danger clawing at him felt even more urgent that he glanced quickly at Jenna. "Stay close. If we can make it to the front." But before he could finish, another knife, infused with fury, was hurtling towards them. He pushed Jenna away instinctively, his body taking the brunt of the blow as he was thrown back, pain flaring through his shoulder. "Tom!" she cried, horrified, rushing back towards him despite the chaos. The world around him grew dim as he gripped his shoulder, blood pooling beneath his fingers, but he could see through the haze. The diners, a swarm of figures, moving in a frenzy. Memories cracked open like thunder, pulling him back to Sarah's haunting gaze and those moments of truth. Enough! He roared, the weight of his pain sharpening his resolve. He stumbled to his feet, fury igniting in his core. If you want to fight, then let us finish this. The tall man laughed, eerie and calm amidst the chaos. Oh, Tom, it's not me you should fear. It's your own past crawling back to make you its prisoner. Before he could process those words, the diner lurched again, the walls trembling as if the building itself were alive, hungry for the truth. Light flickered, plunging them into an abyss of shadows that stretched and contorted. Something lurked at the periphery of his vision, another figure cloaked in darkness, moving swiftly, intent on making a deadly play. Tom! Jenna shouted, but it was too late. The room ignited with a convulsive force as reality twisted, merging past and present into a blinding mix of terror. Tom felt the vanishing point of his own existence drawing closer. Would he be able to grasp the truth before it consumed him whole? The shadows tightened, a suffocating grip around him, and the dying light revealed a face he never expected, lurking in the dark, ready to unleash a revelation more terrifying than the nightmare itself. What truth was hidden there, and would it shatter the last remnants of hope? The air crackled with tension, heavy and electric. Tom's pulse thundered in his ears, drowning out the chaos that surrounded them. Shadows danced, stretching and contorting around the figures of terrified diners, their faces painted with horror and confusion. He fought to focus through the haze of pain and fear. Jenna! He called, spotting her crouched low against the wall, wide-eyed, helpless. He felt a surge of determination. He needed to protect her not just from the man with the knives but from whatever darkness was trying to consume them both. The tall man swayed lightly on his feet, reveling in the panic like a conductor leading an orchestra of dread. His grin widened, exposing teeth like shards of glass. He stepped toward Tom, eyes glimmering with a malicious excitement. Do you want to see what I see, Tom? To step into the shadows and dance with your demons? Tom gritted his teeth, adrenaline flooding his veins. Get away from us. His voice thundered, steady despite the throbbing pain in his shoulder. He couldn't allow fear to seep in. He could feel Jenna's eyes on him, and it fueled him. With a staggering motion, he lunged toward the tall man, but the other figure lurked closer now, darting like a serpent from the corner of his vision. The world shrank to just him and this nightmare. With every ounce of strength left, Tom swung a fist toward the towering figure, but his blow fell short as the man sidestepped, laughing softly, chillingly. Watch out! Jenna cried, her voice just a wail above the din. Tom's gaze snapped back to the lurking shadow, and before he could react, it surged forward, blurring with terrifying speed. The tall man's laughter echoed, ringing out like a bell tolling death. Suddenly, right before him, a knife flashed, another sharp intrusion into his chaotic reality. He lunged instinctively, trying to block it, feeling the blade graze his cheek as adrenaline coursed through him. Tom! Jenna's scream pierced through his daze, and he spun to find her rushing forward, her eyes spiraled with desperation. No! He bellowed. But it was too late. The darkness consumed her, the swirling shadows pulling at the edges of her figure. She struggled, reaching toward him, as he felt the weight of a familiar dread spiraling within him. Tom! She shouted again, panic carved into her features. We need to get out. Now! With renewed fury, he shot toward her, desperation clawing at his insides. He could feel the danger closing in, the knife-wielding man reveling in their despair. But what if he was right? What if this was about more than just survival and Tom had to confront the camp of horrors within his own mind? The wall trembled behind him, the diner shuddering as if echoing his internal turmoil. He grasped Jenna's arm firmly, anchoring her to him, pushing through the swirl of fear. Follow me. He urged, pain flaring through him as he pulled her toward the front, dodging flying knives and frantic bodies sliding past them. As they barreled toward the exit, he straightened, mind racing. Just then, the door burst open, a surge of icy wind sweeping in a beacon, a chance of hope. But standing in the doorway was a figure clad in unsettling familiarity. Tom. Jenna. The voice spilled into the space, cold and haunting. It echoed with a resonance that sent another chill through him. Fear unfurled in his stomach, because suddenly, he recognized that voice, the final piece of a puzzle he thought was lost long ago. "Why are you here?" he demanded, dread pooling in his chest. What other revelations did the gathering shadows hold? The air thickened, dread coiling tighter, wrapping around them like a vice, as Tom realized that his past was determined to catch up with him. Would he and Jenna escape the nightmare that waited just beyond the door, or would it drag them both into a deeper abyss of their shared history? Tom. Jenna. The voice hung in the air like smoke, curling around Tom's mind, twisting memories he thought were long buried. He swallowed hard, his throat dry with fear. The figure in the doorway stepped closer, the lighting casting grotesque shadows across a face he would never forget. "Evelyn," he breathed, the name slipping from his lips like a plea. How could she be here, after all this time? The last time Tom had seen her, their world had shattered. And now, the pieces lay scattered around them, threatening to cut deeper with every breath. Jenna's grip on his arm tightened, her confusion mixing with fear. "Tom, who is she?" The tall man, still reveling in the chaos, chuckled darkly. "Ah, the ghosts of your past come to life. Isn't it fantastic?" His voice dripped with mockery, pulling the fabric of reality even tighter. "What do you want?" Tom shouted, heart racing. "Why are you here? You shouldn't be alive. Life's funny that way, isn't it?" Evelyn replied softly, but her eyes glimmered with an icy detachment. "Sometimes it finds you when you least expect it." Tom looked between her and Jenna, desperately searching for clarity. How could he protect Jenna from this specter of his past? "This isn't about her," Evelyn said, as if reading his thoughts. "It's about you. You're the one who opened the door." With trembling hands, he raised a barrier, frustration mixing with anger. "No. I'm not about to let you twist the past into this nightmare." He could feel the energy in the diner shifting, like the air before a storm. Evelyn's smile faltered slightly. "You think you can just forget? That you can put up walls and nothing will reach you? Not your guilt, not your fear." She stepped forward, and shadows writhed around her, whispering secrets Tom could barely comprehend. "Stay away from her," Jenna shouted, stepping between them, her voice fierce. The strength in her challenge was a flicker of light in the engulfing dark. Tom felt a swell of pride for her, but panic clawed at him. The knife-wielding man had stopped moving, caught in the spell of the confrontation, his attention fully on the three before him. "Such bravery," the tall man hissed, his excitement palpable. "But you're lost, all of you. You cannot escape your shadows, no matter how far you run." As if summoned by his words, a force erupted from the depths of the diner, slamming into Tom and Jenna. The world spun, the din of screams and chaos tearing at their sanity. Evelyn's laughter cut through the noise. "You've summoned the darkness, and it's hungry. You wanted answers, Tom. And now, you will face them." Tom staggered, clutching Jenna's arm tighter. They had to escape, to break free from the madness enveloping them. In the flurry of shadows, a flicker of resolve ignited within him. He couldn't run from his past anymore. They stood together, ready to confront the oncoming storm. But as they readied to push through, the air split with a deafening crack. The shadows surged forward, ready to devour everything in their path, fueled by their fears and regrets. In that moment, Tom caught a glimpse of something that sent shivers down his spine. Within the maelstrom of terror, faces twisted in agony rose from the depths. A macabre audience, witnesses of his past that had come back to claim what was theirs. "Run!" Jenna screamed. But as they fled, he knew that running wouldn't be enough. The door, now ominously ajar, ominously beckoned them, a promise of safety or perhaps further entrapment in the shadows. Tom barely hesitated. He was done being a prisoner of the past. It was now or never. Would this choice be their salvation or a descent into the deepest part of the abyss they had feared? The truth loomed heavier with each step they took forward. The diner erupted in chaos, shadows mingling with frantic breaths as Tom stood on the edge of his past. Jenna clutched his arm, her grip like a lifeline in the storm. "We can't stay here," she urged, panic threading her voice. The weight of shadows gathered behind them, a relentless force threatening to crush their resolve. "Then let us end this," Tom declared, voice steady as iron. He pushed forward, determination igniting within him. If he was going to face those dark whispers looming just beyond the threshold, it was now or never. They had come too far to let fear dictate their path. The door loomed ahead, a portal between their intertwined destinies and the chaotic shadows. Tom took a deep breath, summoning every part of himself still tethered to hope. "Whatever's waiting for me, I'm ready," he whispered. He pushed through the door, and the world around them seemed to twist. Outside, the cold air embraced them, but the whispers followed, echoing like taunts in the night. Tom glanced back into the diner's suffocating gloom. Inside, shadows danced, but he felt stronger now. "We can't let it have us, Jenna. We have to confront this together." Jenna nodded, spirit recharging. "We're not alone. You need to confront whatever it is that haunted you. You can face it." Tom looked deep into her eyes and felt a flicker of warmth pierce the darkness. "You're right. I can't let it control me anymore." As they turned to face the shadows from within, Tom realized the figures creeping along the edge of his memory weren't there to torment him, they were fragments longing for release. He felt tears prickle his eyes. "I've held on to my mistakes for too long. I've been afraid of the truth. It's time to let it go." With a shaky breath, he stepped forward, both resolute and vulnerable. The shadows around them twisted, pulling, clawing, but rather than recoil, Tom embraced it. "I hurt someone I cared about deeply. I didn't protect her," he shouted, words bursting forth like a dam breaking. "Sarah needed me. I wasn't there when she fell, and that broke my heart." A deafening silence consumed the night, the winds of his confession swirling around them. In the shadows danced flickers of light, echoes of laughter mixed with sorrow painting the air with memories. With each word, Tom felt chains of regret shatter, the darkness around them shifting as if to acknowledge his admission. Jenna remained by his side, resolute in her belief. "You're more than your mistakes," she whispered, her voice cutting through the fading shadows. The chilling presence receded slightly, reeling away from the light that Tom's honesty brought forth. In that moment, a final figure emerged from the depths. Evelyn. Her icy demeanor shifted, regret etched upon her face. "Tom. I'm sorry too," she said, voice soft yet resolute. The shadows that swirled around her flickered, their hunger turning to something that resembled sorrow. "Your pain was never meant to bind you," she continued. "I shouldn't have let shame fester, it tore us apart the way it nearly tore you apart tonight." Tom's gut twisted, but it didn't feel like dread. He nodded slowly, understanding circulating in his veins. "We can't change the past, but we can forgive ourselves. We can move forward." The winds shifted one last time, a cleansing breath of relief permeating the darkness. Jenna's hand squeezed Tom's tight, and together they faced the remnants of anguish. Suddenly, a radiant light burst forth, pushing back the shadows swirling, enveloped in a vibrant glow that warmed the chill in the air. Gaseous whispers turned to soft sighs, and the specter of fear evaporated into nothingness, leaving clarity behind. As the last remnants of darkness receded, it felt like a weight had been lifted. Tom looked into Jenna's eyes, flooded with emotion. "We did it." Tears glistened in her eyes as she brushed her fingertips against his cheek. "We did it, together." They stood there, free at last, a world before them, bright and unfurling like a promise. It was no longer about escaping, it was about stepping into a future filled with hope, ready to embrace the life waiting outside those haunting shadows. The night began to thaw, and the moon bathed the streets in silver, wrapping them in a sense of calm. Together, they took a step forward into the dawn of a new day, a day full of forgiveness, renewal, and a bond stronger than any darkness they had faced. Tom smiled, the light touching his heart deep, joy blossoming like spring flowers in a barren landscape. He didn't need the shadows to define him anymore. He turned to Jenna, the warmth of her presence igniting his soul, knowing he'd never be alone again, but this isn't just the end for Tom and Jenna. This is where your story can begin too. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.